The history of Purim. Esther, Hadassah from the tribe of Benjamin, was an orphan adopted by her older cousin Mordecai. When the Persian king Ahasuerus dethroned Queen Vashti for rejecting his summon during a banquet, he began a search to replace her. Mordecai then brought Esther into the king's palace where she was eventually crowned queen. Esther was passing, so Mordecai instructed her not to reveal that she was an Israelite. Shortly after Esther was made queen, Mordecai overheard two of the king's chamberlains conspiring to kill him. Mordecai made the matter known to Esther, who told King Ahasuerus, and the two were hanged. During this time, Haman, an Amalekite, was given a seat above the king's princes. Everyone within the king's gates bowed and reverenced Haman, all except Mordecai. So Haman grew to hate him and vowed to destroy his people. Haman presented his petition before the king, whom approved and decreed that all Jews should be killed. Mordecai commanded that Esther do something to help save her people, but Esther was afraid. She could be killed for approaching the king's throne without permission. She called for a 3-day fast and determined to put her life on the line. Unbeknownst to the king, Esther absolutely hated being queen, but she prayed for courage and eloquent speech, which was used to flatter and charm the king. Queen Esther invited King Ahasuerus and Haman to a dinner where she asked them to join her for another dinner the following night. Even in all his excitement, Haman couldn't contain his hatred for the Jews and had gallows built for Mordecai to be hanged. Later that evening, the king remembered how Mordecai saved his life, while Haman was making way to tell the king of his plans to kill him. Before Haman could speak his piece, the king commanded him to array Mordecai in royal apparel and parade him on horseback around the city to be praised the very next day. The following evening, King Ahasuerus and Haman sat down to dinner with Esther, whom revealed her kindred to the king and begged him not to let Haman kill her people. In his anger, the king had Haman hanged on the very gallows that were built for Mordecai. Queen Esther convinced the king to disannul the decree to kill the Jews, and he issued a new decree to destroy those that sought their hurt. Many of the heathens in the land converted to Jews out of fear of them. On the 13th day of the 12th month, the Jews gathered together to slay all of their enemies with the help of the king's army, and Haman's 10 sons were put to death. On the 14th and 15th day, the Jews rested and celebrated by sending gifts one to another. Mordecai appointed the 14th and 15th days of the 12th month of each year to be observed as Purim throughout all generations, and he was made second to the king in all the land. We are commanded to observe Purim for 2 days with feasting and gift giving to commemorate the deliverance from and the destruction of our enemies. Now that you know, will you be celebrating the Feast of Purim this year?
Oh, but first behold, in your